All right, heading off on the back 9 here at Copperhead. Number 10, this video probably isn't doing it enough justice for just how downhill this tee shot is. And because the ball is in the air for as long as it is, it plays a little tighter than it might appear, but it also plays a lot shorter. So not a hole you necessarily need driver on, so went 3-wood here because that's been working today. Didn't exactly hit the best 3-wood. Probably only went about 230, 240 range, but good enough. We have an 8-iron in to this green. It's got a nice opening, one of the more gettable holes, not the most difficult. Par 4 on the course by far, and hit just a lovely little 8-iron that snuck up there. And anytime you can set yourself up for a potential boring par on this course, that's a major win. So get it a little tight, give ourselves our tap-in par. A birdie would have been nice to sneak one back. We ended the front 9 5 over. So to come back here and to have gotten a birdie there would have been lovely, but that's okay. Hole number 11 just happens to be the best birdie opportunity on the course, because if you can get it over that bunker on the left, the slope will actually shoot your ball a little bit closer to the green, and you'll have a club in. It will be gettable. It's not like the other par 5s where it's a double dog leg. This is the only one that's straight, and it actually has a really nice bailout area right. Not something you get a whole lot of here. So even if you hit not the best approach, it's far from being the most penal outcome. Hit a really solid drive, just wrapped around the corner of that bunker. And I had 215 in here, so went with the 3 hybrid. Felt like that was enough club. Not so great under pressure with long clubs. And ended up hitting just a low stinger that went in the bunker, bounced out, ended up being just about pin high in that bailout area, which is kind of where I was aiming anyway, because that was always my safety valve. And just, if you can get yourself an up and down for a birdie here, steal one back, that's doing what you probably need to do if you want to have a good score here. This is one of the few holes where you step up to it, you can really give yourself a good chance for birdie with a good drive, and not even the best second shot, but a good second shot. Now, moving on to number 12, a really well-designed hole. The more I play this hole, the more I appreciate it, because what it's telling you is you want to be left on that left edge over there for the most clear and shortest angle at the green. But if you want to do that, you've got to take on that bend. You got to hit something high that can carry those trees, or hit something around it. And if you don't execute the angle, you're gonna run into the water on the right. Hit the 3 hybrid here again, and I guess I got a little lucky because I got through those trees relatively unobstructed. Had 145-ish into the green, I think maybe 150. Wind felt like it was in the face. So I believe that's a 7-iron in here, but now that I look at my address, it explains why it went so far right, because the contact didn't feel terrible, didn't feel great, but didn't feel terrible. But it looks like I was a little more closed off than I really needed to be there, and not an ideal up and down on a green like this, because from this side of it, that green slopes hard to the front entrance. So anything that lands on it, especially out of the rough, it's just going to release and roll, and it's so difficult to get that dialed in. And I hit an okay chip. I had about 25, 30 feet left for par, regrettably. Forgot to hit record on this one, so you're going to have to take my word. I have 3 witnesses. Well, 2 witnesses? I did make the incredible par putt. So we're still on track. We're having an excellent back 9. We're at this point, we're even through 10, 11, 12, which, again, for a guy at my skill level, perfectly great place to be. Skull it just a little bit. Not skull, but thinned a 7-iron to this back pin. And one thing, if you can hear the audio in the background, Justin, I believe, is commenting. I've always had good misses. I do not strike the ball very well. No one would ever say I'm an excellent ball striker, but my misses usually end up being pretty usable. And for hitting the ball as poorly as I hit it, to have this as an opportunity for birdie, not really a makeable putt, but an opportunity for birdie, is just a really good miss. And the way I've been able to kind of work my way around a lot of courses, especially harder ones, is I'm not going to get a lot of low numbers. There won't be many circles on my cards, but I usually do a good job of getting the double squares off my card. Got a knee knock right here for par, but the putter was actually working pretty well today. So the hot streak continues. Number 14, this is the signature design for the architect Larry Packard. He likes to double dog legs. If you ever played Cypress Run in the area, hole number 11 has a very similar design. Like I mentioned in the first half in the intro, Larry Packard does not believe in gettable par fives. 11 here is kind of an anomaly for his design philosophy. So one of the most open tee shots on the course, probably the most open. You can go left and still be okay, which I kind of did here. But you really do want to go left to bite off as much as you can to make that layup as easy as you can, because it is kind of a negotiation where if you go right, play it safe, find the fairway over there, you're going to have a 200 plus yard layup shot to the layup area that's just around the corner from this shot here, and you're not going to have a level lie either. It adds a little level of subtle difficulty to this par 5, because yeah, you might be 80 yards out, 100 yards out, up and down for a birdie, worst case par, but the way the course is sloped makes it a lot more difficult. Now, because I had the tree trouble there, I am a little further back, so I'm actually in a level part of the fairway for my approach, and I had, I think, 140 in and just chunked a 9-iron. Came up short. At this stage in the round, the irons were starting to come apart, and I think what happened was what happened to a lot of us who are very amateurish journeyman type golfers, is I'm thinking, man, I'm putting together a lot of good holes. Let's see if we can just keep this low, start scoreboard watching, and tightened up. And I started focusing more on the outcome as opposed to just trying to execute a good swing. And a good chip here. The short game never went well. I'm foreshadowing. Short game does fail me shortly. But a good contact, good pace. I just didn't read enough of the break that once it hits the green, it's going to rip left. Because if I was higher up to the right, it probably would have kept going a little closer and tap in bogey, which on a par 5, that feels like you're losing something to the field, especially one where you were 140 out with a clean look at the green and it took you 4 strokes to hole it. But we're still even at this point through 10, 11, 12, 13 4 holes. So this is 15 through 5 holes. So longer par 3, but because it is another very, very downhill par 3, it doesn't play as long. So it's kind of difficult to factor in the math when you also have a prevailing wind that's helping. So it was 165. I ended up playing at about a 145 yard club, but I chunked keep it clean. Let's just say I chunked it way more than I should have for a tee shot. There's just no excuse for that. But that's okay. Short game's been working for us. Just got to get something on the green. Limit it to a bogey. Be +1 going into the snake pit. And I did something I hadn't done all day, which is blade a chip. And I'd like to blame it on I had a little bit of a weird lie where I couldn't address the ball cleanly. It was kind of buried a little bit, but I mean, you just got to be good enough to know that you just can't do that there. So what makes this green, in my opinion, one of the hardest greens on the course to read, probably the hardest for me personally to read, is that it isn't crazy. It is very subtle. It looks very flat, but it's not. And it's really tough to figure out which way the putt is even going to go sometimes. So I think I had that putt going left, and it ended up being either a straight putt or maybe even going right. Because on a lot of the greens, it's a difficult green. It's a lot of movement, but it's easier to putt when you know the direction it's going, but not the severity. Then it might not be a very severe breaking putt, but you just don't know which way it's going. Because even if you guess right, you're probably not going to swing very confidently. So vibes are not excellent heading into the snake pit, but from the whites, it's actually it's not as intimidating off the tee, because you just need to hit a 3-wood, find a fairway, which don't know where the shot tracer is on this one, but it did not go well. Did hit the one thing you can't do. Actually, I'll take that back. You're probably better off doing what I did there, which is hit a fade that just goes too hard right, take your distance, than being in tree jail to the left, because on tree jail to the left, it could be a 2-stroke penalty, because it's pretty thick. And even if you have a window, it's still not a guarantee that you'll execute it. So I don't know what happened here. There must have been some wind that I did not catch or notice, because I hit a good 8-iron that only needed to go 150 yards, and it came up short. This is not the next shot. Scout's honor. I came up short, hit a chip to here. So this is actually my bogey putt. I'm not selectively editing again, just not perfect hitting the record button sometimes. But it's not in my favor, so it doesn't benefit me to be dishonest here. So getting a bogey save after playing the hole as poorly as I did would have been great, and just barely missed it. It was good. I was told it was good. I think we can all use some common sense here and realize that 2 inches away, back of the putter stroke, we're gentlemen here. 17 usually plays a little bit longer than you might shoot it with the rangefinder. It's because it's more uphill than it looks. It's just a very, very gradual uphill, where by the time you get to the green and look back, you can notice it, but from down here it's tough to tell. So you had a 165 yards, I believe, maybe 155 to the pin. And I opted to 2 things on that swing. One, I forgot about results, and I just thought, go back to having a nice, smooth swing, and I opted to club up just to be safe, because I'd rather be long putting from back here than hit a club that might, on this same line that I ended up hitting, fall short in that bunker right, because that's a very, very difficult up and down. And I was actually pretty pleased with the lag putting all day, so I felt confident enough when I stood over it, just reverting back to be an athlete, don't think too much about it. I listened to that Brad Faxon talk to Rory about the mental approach he tried to give him to putting, which was just don't think about it. Revert to being an athlete, trust your instincts. For the lag putting, I would say all in all, worked out well today. So you go to 18, again, another uphill, very, very difficult par 4. It's in the top 150 for the hardest holes the tour will play all year long. We've got our makeshift church view bunkers, an homage to Oakmont, I would imagine. I'm sure Larry Packard was familiar with the course when he made it, and hit it right in 2 out of them. So it was a Sunday service for me on this round. So that doesn't bum me out as much, because typically these bunkers, it rolls back to give you enough clearance to get the club you need if you're in one of those last 2, which I was in the second to last church view. And the green is big enough. I'm 130 yards out, clubbed up to a 9-iron just to be safe. Made really good contact. It's another one where you just don't know how the elevation is going to affect your total carry distance, and ended up pin high, and walking up, just pulling on my buddy's shirt. It's like, hey, you see that shot? And it's a pretty good shot, because it's a pretty good shot from there. And I never gave this one a chance. That thing was ripping, and I played it like a subtle break. Maybe with more pace, obviously, it might be true, but I'm trying to get pars here, so Focus on the pace, wrapping up, walk away with a 39 in the back because it's only a par 35 with 3 par 3s. And overall, pretty pleased. To walk away from Copperhead, regardless of the tees, with an 80 is a pretty stellar round for this guy. And that's all I got to say about this one. I appreciate you watching. If you're still watching, that'd be super cool if you are. Testament to you. And hope you watch the next one.